Welcome back. Now, the DA, EFF and the Freedom Front Plus are among some of the parties that are calling on President Cyril Ramaphosa to take action against Minister Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, who stands accused of corruption. Now, News 24 reported how the Hawks have finalized the investigation into a 2.5 million rand tender involving the minister in the presidency while she was the municipal manager of the Ba-Phalaborwa Municipality back in 2009. Now, the DA wants her removed from cabinet immediately, while the EFF said Ntshavheni has avoided accountability for years. Joining me now, I'd like to welcome Advocate Paul Hoffman from Accountability Now. Advocate Hoffman, good day. Thank you so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV.
Good afternoon to you and to your listeners as well. It's always a pleasure to join you.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Advocate Hoffman, I thought the government of national unity was supposed to make sure that corrupt individuals are not serving in the cabinet. Now you've got a minister who potentially stands accused of exactly that.
Yes, it's a very long in the tooth investigation. It goes back to 2009, but it seems that the Hawks have got their act together and that the National Prosecuting Authority is in the throes of preparing, is satisfied there is a case and is in the throes of preparing a charge sheet. So she is going to be an accused in a dock in a criminal court in South Africa before long. So the question is, ethically and legally, is she obliged to stand down? And if she doesn't, is there anything that can be done about it? That's really the stuff that we need to talk around today. Well, I think ethically there's no question. She must stand down until her name is cleared. That's what Peter Hain did when he got into trouble in England, and it's standard practice throughout the world that in countries where the rule of law is respected, you don't prejudice the efficiency of the cabinet that you're a member of by hanging on to office when your name is under a cloud, rightly or wrongly. As far as the legal position is concerned, the minister is a member of the ANC, and the ANC has a step-aside rule. So the rule has been adjusted recently, and quite clearly, in the position in which she finds herself now, she is obliged to step down, and she will be in breach of the ANC's own rules if she does not do so. And that really is the short version of what is going to take up a lot of column space.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing, Advocate Hoffman, you've mentioned standard practice, but we know in South Africa, standard practice is something that we keep asking, when is it going to happen? Because how many times have we seen corrupt individuals still take up certain positions? I mean, you've got the Zondo Commission report that has a whole heap of current ANC, NEC members, dare I say it, even members within the top 7, that are still serving in their positions. So it really is a head-scratcher, isn't it?
Yes, I think they take the attitude that if anybody tries to come after them, they will seek to review the Zondo Commission report, and they try to give an innocent explanation of all of the bribe packs that they got from Busasa, all of the coal deals that were done, all of the security equipment that was supplied. We know all of those stories, and it is unfortunate that so many people who take an oath of office to uphold the Constitution and to abide by the rule of law simply forget about that oath when they get themselves on the receiving end of criminal investigations like that pertaining to our minister in the presidency at the moment.
Advocate Hoffman, Ntshavheni is very close with President Ramaphosa, and of course this dates back to, of course, her support for him during the ANC elective conference in 2017, and hence, of course, we've seen her have this position, especially in the minister in the presidency, which is seen as a very important position. She got it in the 6th administration. She now has it in the 7th administration. For President Ramaphosa, this may be seen as a blow to him also, given that when he came in 2018, he was selling South Africa as this president that was going to be the anti-corruption crusader. How does he navigate this? Because it is really somebody who's quite close to him, not just within the ANC, but also in that very same cabinet.
Yes, the case is indistinguishable from that of Thembi Simelane, also part of the Limpopo mafia, also close to Cyril Ramaphosa, also in the upper echelons of the ANC. And although she hasn't been charged yet, she is moved sideways in cabinet in order to get her out of the embarrassment of being the minister in charge of the very National Prosecuting Authority that is in the process, if they're doing their work properly, of formulating serious corruption charges against her. So if what's source for the Simelane is source for the minister in the presidency as well, and I'm afraid it doesn't help Mr. Ramaphosa that the minister concerned happens to be close to him, happens to be a Limpopo politician like him. The rules are the rules, and if the step-aside rule of the ANC means anything, it means that the minister in the presidency, like the Minister of Justice until a few weeks ago, has to be relieved of her post. And that, I'm afraid, is the long and the short of the story.
Advocate, it's a classic case of the 10 steps forward, 100 steps back. We've got Zizi Kodwa, who steps down. You've got Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, who held a very important position within the legislature as the Speaker of Parliament. She's, of course, currently on trial. And then, of course, you've got the 100 steps back, which is Thembi Simelane, as you mentioned, taking up a very important portfolio, which is the Minister of Justice. But she's been swapped around because you've got Mamoloko Kubai, who now takes that position. And the position that was held by Minister Kubai is now that which has been taken by Minister Simelane. So there's not really much of a change in terms of fighting or asking the minister to step aside up until her name is either cleared or action will be taken against her. And I think citizens would be frustrated on this because they're now going to watch President Ramaphosa and they're going to ask the question, yeah, you've got somebody who's very close to you, like you said, coming from the same province. What are you going to do now, Mr. President? And this is where the question of accountability really comes. You know, whether he will take the firm stand in asking Minister Ntshavheni to step down. Many would say he may just not do that.
Yes, I'm afraid he's well known for his propensity for dithering. And I suspect that he's dithering on this one right now because he knows that the political clout that comes his way because she is in the position that she's in. And he knows that his ability to keep tabs on what is going on in her portfolio is enhanced by her being there. So it does put him in a difficult position. But as you said at the beginning of this interview, in 2018, when he came in, he had two big words. The one was renewal, and the other was unity. Those were the things that he had in mind for the ANC. Well, one sees absolutely no signs of renewal in the methods that are used to appoint cabinet ministers. And although it is his choice as to who he puts in his cabinet, he must always remember that that legal choice, that obligation that he has to appoint a suitable cabinet, is one that has to be exercised rationally. And it is not rational to appoint crooks into your cabinet, which he seems to feel obliged to do because of the dynamics within his party. He's not going to get to the point of being called the renewal president while he tolerates the levels of corruption that we see, while those fingered in the processes of the Zondo Commission of Inquiry simply carry on as if nothing had happened. And even while Zizi Kodwa, against whom a very strong case appears to have been made at Zondo, is able to persuade a difficult director of public prosecutions, one who ought to have been fired a year ago, or at least suspended a year ago, come to the conclusion that there's no case to answer and he can get on with the rest of his life. That's currently under review by Shamila Batoy, and one hopes that justice will be done, not only for Zizi, but also for the public in that case.
Advocate Hoffman, thank you so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV. Much appreciated.
No, thank you for the opportunity. We squeezed it into a very busy Tuesday.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. It's Advocate Paul Hoffman from Accountability Now. Well, yeah, of course, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni very close to President Cyril Ramaphosa. The question has to be asked, if you are stand accused of corruption, well, the ANC step-aside policy has one rule over there. But what about that of the executive when you have members of the Government of National Unity like the DA and the Freedom Front Plus calling on Minister Ntshavheni to step down? That really spells of a louder voice within that very same coalition to ask her to step aside up until this investigation is complete. Well, we'll have more News in Focus on Thursday. Tomorrow, of course, will be a talking point from myself, Ross, and all the rest of the team in Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.